CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success.
Hey, we're at Hexagon Live out in Las Vegas. That guy right there is Alex Bolan. He's with DigitalThinker. By the way, don't forget he's also with Streamline Conferences, so keep an eye on that. I'll have some announcements about that, but right now, Alex and I want to do a real quick grip it and rip it style CMMS Radio episode.
Right.
Alex, you've heard a lot, you've seen a lot, you're getting ready to head out, you got some stuff to handle back east. What is on your mind, brother?
Yeah. So I thought today, today we heard the announcement of what NewCo is going to be, or the ALI division of Hexagon, right? And so now we know it's going to be Octave. I thought it was interesting, and of course we all have a lot of unknowns as to what that is, but Matthias Stenberg, the president of the ALI division, soon to be president or CEO of Octave, gave a pretty compelling keynote on not only the origin of the name, but what they stand by. And so I actually wrote it down. I'm going to look it up while I keep talking, but I think my takeaway from this is I'm incredibly proud to hear what I've heard today, to be partnered with what Octave is going to be. I've been very, I don't want to say hesitant about not saying I'm not proud of being a partner with Hexagon, right? But I mean, we talk about it a lot, and I think my people know too, we're very passionate about delivering a solution that actually works. It's like you say too, Greg, it's about the people and the process, not necessarily the flashy piece of equipment. And of course, you asked me a lot about my thoughts on AI. And so what Matthias said today, and let me see if I can find it. He said that with Octave and getting beyond the AI hype, we need to stay grounded in the truth so you can rise above the hype. That hit hard, because there's so many other companies right now that are trying to integrate this AI component with their software immediately, but what value is it bringing? And so what I'm reaffirmed from Matthias' speech, and I'm going to post about this later, is that he wants to rise above the hype, and right now I think Octave is the only company in the market that's doing that. So that's what makes me excited, and that's where I'm taking it.
So I got to sit in on a couple of those different keynotes, especially the one you're talking about, and I got some of the same kind of feelings and thoughts. Obviously, I'm not an alliance partner, I'm not an integration partner, none of that, but I was lucky enough to then go to the media presser.
Oh yeah.
There was a small group of us, it was several people in a room, and we got to ask him very pointed questions. And one of the questions I asked was one that you and I were kind of concerned about going in, and that was, what about the customers? What's being done to help them with their comfort level, what to expect in the future, and also the fact that customers in the past have gone through some iterations with some of the original technology that was a carve-out acquisition. So I'm not going to get into what his answer was, everybody. You're going to see that in another episode, because what I did was I tried to record the whole thing. It's not perfect. I don't do perfect. I just do real. But that was really cool. I do have to say, we just talked about this while we were eating lunch, and this is true, folks. We were talking about how he's not just your typical software company CEO that was brought in, and we agreed on the term that he's got that visionary component. So I wanted to just give you an opportunity to, before we close out, just talk a little bit about that. What did that look like to you? When did you realize he's not just coming in here to be the chief everything officer, it's something else?
Yeah, so I realized pretty early on that he was beyond, we're just trying to sell software, when he described not only rising above the AI hype, that struck a huge chord with me, as I just mentioned, but one of the first things he talked about was the second law of thermodynamics, how everything will break.
Yep.
Right? So we see a lot of people out there that are promising reduce or no downtime, eliminate it, and that's not the case because there's too many variables. And so I believe that he is the visionary in understanding that everything will break. It's not a matter of if it'll break, it's when it'll break. And then what are we doing to try to stay as far ahead of that as possible, whether it's trying to predict or get the right data in place. But things are going to break, and we need to get to it before it breaks catastrophically. and we need to get in there and repair it before it becomes a safety hazard or a quality hazard or anything for that matter. So how do we do that effectively? And then I think one of the coolest things that he did was, bringing those 4 people up on stage. The first individual, I can't remember his name or the company, but he asked this VP of a global company, what are the things that are most important to you, what keeps you up at night? And he said, when a kiln goes down, it takes 5 days to get it back online, and all it takes is a squirrel chewing on the wires for it to go haywire. Yeah. And he's right, you can't predict that kind of stuff. So we're having real conversations with real leaders about what's keeping them up at night, and that is they're trying to have their assets be more reliable, and we're trying to do effective maintenance, and it starts with capturing the right data. It doesn't start with installing the best AI software out there. It doesn't start with trying to reinvent the wheel. It starts with assessing it, capturing the right data, and making sure we have the right people and the tools to help them repair and do what they need to do.
Absolutely, and he was very intentional about, forget about all this AI stuff. Let's just focus on the intelligence about these. I call them best practices because each of those guests on stage and everything in that particular keynote, all I was hearing was the things that I've talked about for I don't know how long. You've talked about them, we focus on them, but now it's almost like these organizations, a couple of which are just huge, right?
What, 50,000 employees, one said?
Massive. And they're talking about maintenance, reliability. They didn't use the word, but they're talking about availability. They incorporated the safety elements, and I'm hoping that they're going to release the video recording of that. Really good panel. Dude, Alex.
Well, let me drop one more hot nugget.
Do it.
On this.
Drop a nugget.
Dang. I was going somewhere with it, now I forgot. Maybe you can cut it out, maybe.
I will.
But, oh man, let me think about it. What was it that got me fired up? Oh, I remember, sorry. You can keep this. So, you mentioned you talk about it on CMMSradio, the rally cry, right? And I've talked about it on LinkedIn, starting this revolution within the community. And my most recent post about that was learning how many more are out there doing the same thing, trying to fight the good fight. And I walked away from today knowing that Matthias is doing that. I don't know how to describe that empowerment from my small company's level to see the leader of what Octave is going to be. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up his ass. I'm really not. Yeah. But that guy today proved to me that he's trying to fight the good fight, trying to rise above the hype, trying to provide a solution that fits for what the customer needs. And that aligns with our business practices. So that's what makes me proud to be a partner with them and moving forward. And that's what makes me feel that Octave will, I think be a true leader in this. I really do. I mean, time will tell. We'll see. But man, it was just really refreshing to hear that. You don't hear that from many executives today. And so Matthias, if you watch this, man, thank you for doing that. It was incredible.
Yeah, and the changes and what was discussed and what was shared, what was shown, what I got to hear and kind of watch him in action in the presser, it was pretty grounded and real. So I think it's about positivity, and I'm not just virtue signaling because I don't like to do that shit, but I'm watching, right? I'm watching. How's this really going to turn out? I've seen this kind of stuff before, but again, we're at that point where we're like, hey, maybe this will make a good impact. So
it might. It's got potential. It's got potential. I think there's good leadership, and so I'm just glad that I was here to be for it, dude. I'm glad you're here to be for it.
Thank you, man. Thanks for getting me here. This guy got me a taxi in the form of a plane ride. I appreciate that. So shout out to DigitalThinker, Alex Bolan, my brother.
Thanks,
Safe travels home, and thanks for being here with me at Hexagon Live.
Later, guys.
All right, take care.
Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS from selection to implementation to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.